Welcome to Potentials. This is Líja, and we are here with the WingMakers number 6. This is the last one, and we're really going to have fun with this. It's a little bit longer, but it's so worth it because there's just so much information in this one that is just mind-boggling, right? So let's get
Yes.
to it. Ed, thank you for coming back and for doing this last episode with me.
Yeah, thank you for having me again. And we have some really cool stuff after this plan. We'll talk after this we'll talk a little bit more about what we've got planned in the future.
Yep. Okay, so I am going to move this out of the way so I can see, I think. It's kind of in the way. Anyway, oh, here it is. I'll move it like this. Okay. After
All
about
right.
2 hours of smashing the rock, we finally
Oh,
cracked
oh,
it.
oh, hang on.
Oh, no, we're down
Wingmakers.
here. We're down
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Sorry.
I was going to tell you that I should
Wingmaker number
have.
6. Yes.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the spiral staircase, there were ornate petroglyphs carved in the stone with the precision never before seen by our eyes, which is interesting. Also,
Hmm.
the entire tunnel system was clearly too smooth, almost polished. It couldn't be of natural construction. There was a sense of architecture, a sense that someone designed it with extreme care and purpose. And something like a polymer coating had been applied to every square centimeter of the structure, including the ceilings. And I find
Wow.
that interesting because if you look at some of um, these really ancient buildings around the world, there's some that have that very similar description where we
Oh,
can't understand how they were
great.
made.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah. So Dr. Innocent says, yes, we went from chamber to chamber each time, feeling like we had stumbled into an alien natural history museum. The chambers
That's cool.
themselves were relatively small, about 4 meters in diameter, with fairly high ceilings, in some instances as high as 6 meters. And then he says, yes, they're large and always face the entrance of the chamber. Um, and I guess she's talking about the paintings. You have to walk into the chamber in order to see the whole composition. But
Great.
when you walk past the entrance, you probably can see, oh, there's a painting in there. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
Just a little
you
at the
now
bottom.
you were
Yeah.
the first and only person outside of the Labyrinth group whom I've talked with about this story. And then he says, within the Labyrinth group, every project is related to BST, which is blank slate technology, which we've gone
Yep.
into in
Yep.
the other episodes. Um, and then it says he's one of those visionaries that enter the physical world and knew at a very early age what he came to do. 15 was born to time travel, period. End of story. That's all he's ever cared about. Well, I can relate to that.
I was just about to say something like that. That's hilarious.
My kind of guy. Okay, so it says his total research into how to construct BST using the new physics that was being introduced rapidly into the community of quantum physics. So new physics, again, being
Yes.
mentioned.
Yeah.
15 felt that Einstein's theories underestimated the influence that consciousness had on quantum objects. And
Awesome. That's an awesome statement, isn't it?
we're beginning to discover this now. It's
Yeah,
taken long enough,
exactly.
about
Yep.
time, pun intended. Um, Then she asks something about expanding the intelligence. He says, few people realize that their conscious mind only processes about 15 bits of information per second of linear time. However, in vertical time, and this is where we're getting into vertical time, the
Yes.
unconscious mind is processing approximately 70 to 80 million bits of information. The
Wow.
Cordium technology was designed to reduce the filtering aspects of the conscious mind and enable the higher frequency information packets to be fed to the conscious mind. In parallel with this effort, the brain circuitry, if you will, is rewired to handle the higher voltage of information that is being fed to the consciousness, allowing capabilities like photographic memory and abstract thought to coexist. And then
Wow.
that's amazing because if you think there's some people that do have photographic memory,
Yep.
and it means that they're using that part of their
I
brain they're using.
I have selective photographic memory.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And I feel like it's something that we can all get. I
Absolutely.
yeah.
Everyone is fully capable of all of these
It's kind
things.
of like a memory retrieval or it's like having your hard drive cleaned, you know? Decluttered.
Now that is
Defragged.
that's an awesome way to put it. What's
Well, yeah, I guess it's kind of an Arcturian way to put it. But anyway, it's not really a simple question of the quantity of information processing, but rather the relevance of the information in linear time based on the intention of the individual, the intention.
Yes.
When one goes through the process of Cordium technology, their ability to tune into information packets that are relevant to a situation or problem is vastly improved.
Wow, that's pretty interesting, isn't it?
Very interesting. This technology accelerates evolutionary thought processes and enables the circulation of information between the conscious and unconscious aspects of the mind to flow in the pattern of an ascending spiral rather than the pattern of a repetitious circle. And it's because this quality of the Cortium technology that unleashes the innate intelligence of the individual. So you see, the Cortium technology doesn't increase raw intelligence, it simply facilitates the natural intelligence of the individual. Right. It's
So
like a
so that
recovery.
yeah, and that ascending spiral, that just reminds me of the longitudinal waves because that's exactly what they are,
Yes.
right?
Very
Exactly
good.
what they are.
That is what they are.
And that's
Wow.
vertical time also, people,
Vertical
so you
time.
understand. Yeah, vertical
Yes.
time. Yeah,
Right.
awesome. I knew this was going to be the best one.
Yes. And then he says, you have to understand that the Cortium are a benevolent race. We never saw any evidence that they had anything but good intentions to assist us, and to the extent possible, we tried to assist them in return. It was a courteous and completely reciprocal partnership, a symbiotic relationship, as I like to
Yeah, and
say.
that's cool. That's how it
Yeah.
should always be, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
And, it's like not what a lot of people think about, people who they consider to be aliens. But, this is obviously not the case here. They are very benevolent.
yeah.
So, there are formative principles of physics that reside in a dimensional matrix that are completely foreign to all beings except the most penetrating intellects. There's a
Mm,
considerable difference between time travel and BST. I'm not aware of any species that possesses the form of BST that the Labyrinth group is attempting to develop.
right.
It's like this, Anne. BST requires a suite of interdependent but discrete technologies that require a developer to apply new theorems, new laws of physics that have never
Mhm.
been discovered before.
Yeah.
This is the very nature of BST. You start with a blank slate and reinvent, reformulate, and recreate the consciousness of matter. Mm.
Wow, that's a huge statement. Like huge, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
And that's what's happening right now.
exactly. Yeah,
This,
yeah.
right now. Yeah.
That's why there's so much hope.
Yes. And we get to be here to see it. We get to be here to help make
Yeah,
it happen. This is
yeah,
awesome. This is the very nature of BST. You start with blank slate and reinvent. Oh, I just read that, but I liked reading it again. And
yeah.
recreate the consciousness of matter. Remember what I said about quantum objects and how they're influenced by consciousness? Quantum
Mhm.
objects become increasingly granular or refined until they become pure light energy and cease to have mass. They are not of physical reality, but rather of a pure state energy. This energy is further segmented into octaves of vibration.
Wow,
Octaves of vibration. In other
this is so cool.
words, this light, wait, I missed it. In other words, this light energy vibrates, and just like music, there are fundamentals and harmonics. The
Yeah,
harmonics resonate with the fundamental energy vibration, and the whole energy packet sings like a choir, except its voice is light.
isn't that cool?
That is
That
super.
And you told me that you're going to be singing right after this.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
So cool.
Going to be writing a song after this.
Yep,
This
that's
singing, if
awesome.
you will, is the equivalent of a consciousness that pervades all matter, even every physical object in the entire universe. This all pervasive consciousness you mentioned. Are you really talking about spirit or God? And he says, exactly.
And
Mhm.
and we would say source.
Of
Uh,
course.
yeah, of course, exactly. Yep,
You see, if matter ultimately dissolves into octaves of light, and light dissolves into octaves of consciousness, and consciousness dissolves into octaves of reality, then matter, light, consciousness, and reality are interdependent like an ecosystem. And like an ecosystem, if you change one element, you affect the whole.
that's very interesting and awesome, isn't it?
That is super cool. That is very true.
Yep,
And then we're missing this one. Okay.
yep.
Um, Now, for the benefit of those who read this interview eventually, what do the Cortium look like? I thought you'd never ask. They stand nearly 3 meters high and have very elongated heads and bones. Their skin is very fair, almost translucent, like you might expect from a cave dweller.
Hmm,
What's very unique about the Cortium is that they have an incredibly articulate nervous system that enables them to process virtually everything that occurs within their environment, including the thoughts of another. Yeah,
that sounds like an Arcturian,
yeah,
actually, very
it
much so.
does. Yeah,
Yeah,
very similar. And the fact that they might look like a cave dweller makes you wonder, where were they living?
inner Earth,
Right, possibly, right?
possibly. Yeah,
Or
yeah,
a
exactly.
spacecraft, maybe, or
Yeah,
both.
yeah, and their skin is translucent too. That's interesting too, right?
Right. That's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking because they're not getting a lot of sunlight, so
yeah,
that would
because we
cause
know
their
that the Arcturians are blue because of the star Arcturus, the
Mm,
radiation that it puts off. That's why their skin is blue color.
right.
So them being translucent because they're not getting that starlight is makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Wherever they're dwelling at that
Yep.
moment is not getting sunlight. So I wonder what happened that caused that. Um,
Yeah, that's a good question.
they speak perfect English or French, Italian, Spanish, or most any other language for that matter. They're very gifted linguists and can acquire average language skills in a matter of a few weeks. Their minds are like sponges.
Wow.
They're completely absorbed in the efforts to create BST and hope that there is some technology or theorem within the ancient arrow site that can help accelerate the development of BST. You know, it kind of makes me wonder if, you know, um, tribal peoples, indigenous peoples, they
Yeah.
probably are very similar. They probably pick things up quickly because they don't have the distractions and the things that clog
Yes.
their brains like we do.
Yeah, that is
So
a
it
great point. Yeah.
probably enables them to be able to learn things faster and
Faster.
also
Great.
be more in touch with their consciousness and the ability to read thoughts of other people
Yeah.
and
And
sense
nature.
and feel.
And nature
Yeah.
too, right?
And be able to sense and feel things just intuitively because they're
Yeah.
more in touch with their intuition. So it seems like that makes a lot of sense
That's a
why
very
they would be that
interesting.
way.
Yeah. I like it.
Okay, so the Cordium have a planetary system that's in a very fragile state because its protective atmosphere is degenerating at an alarming rate. Oh, that makes sense. That's why
Mhm.
they're, yeah.
Yep.
They hope that BST will enable them to install a technology that they've recently discovered to prevent the deterioration of their atmosphere. So that's why they came back
Right.
to Earth at this time.
Yep.
Right. They have tried, but oh, she says obviously they have space travel technology. Why don't they pick out another planet and colonize it? They have tried, but
Yeah.
every planet they found that's suitable for their species is occupied. See, there's so many other planets out there that are occupied, and we just think, oh, we're the only ones, right? How silly is
Exactly.
that?
Exactly. Yep. That is
Mm.
so correct.
And then he says, did they want to interact with our governments and our people? Initially, I think they did. In fact, they tried, but they were quickly escorted to the ACIO, and we convinced the NSA and all other interested parties that the Cordium had left Earth fearful of their lives. So as far as our operatives within the NSA are concerned, the Cordium are long gone. And fortunately, the NSA at the time were quite preoccupied with other ET issues anyway, namely the Greys.
Oh, that's interesting. We know a lot about the Greys now. Mm.
Yeah, that's what makes this interesting because,
Yep,
this is all sort of unraveling, now. I mean, this just,
it is.
they're talking in the late 90s, but now we're looking at this with totally different eyes in a totally different time period. And we can
Yeah.
see how they would be preoccupied right now
Yes.
because it's happening
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
and it's going to happen even more very soon.
That's
Um,
sure.
the leader of the Cordium mission to Earth is called, in English, Mahunahi. Yes,
Yep.
Mahunahi. And he happens to be an artist first and foremost, and a scientist is his second nature. Interesting.
That's
He's an
interesting. Yeah,
artist
very,
first.
yeah, very interesting that that's the case, right?
Yes, and most people don't connect art and science, but I think they're very connected.
Oh, absolutely they are.
So
Absolutely.
that
Yeah.
really is cool.
And
As for
consciousness too with art too,
Yes,
right?
well,
Yep.
yeah, yep. As for your second question, the Cordium look at science, religion, and art as three equal members of a unified field belief system that defines their social order.
Hmm.
Yeah, connect
Yep.
those three things. If you look back at really ancient buildings too, and the paintings inside of them, it looks like they connected science, art, and religion back then as well
Yeah,
at
I'd
some
have to
point.
agree with that. Yep,
Yeah,
definitely.
especially when you look at sacred geometry. Um,
Exactly. Yeah, you nailed it right there. Bingo.
And only the homing device found outside the site and the optical disc have been, to some extent, understood. That's correct. We don't know if they have all 5 elements of BST. Remember the element that pertains to intervention points? She goes, yes, that's the one that defines when to intervene at the point in time that is causal and has the least ripple effect on related but separate events, right? That's a good,
Yep.
she's picked it up quickly.
Yes,
Your
definitely.
definition is missing only one thing, intervention. Intervention points are codependent on both time and space. In
Mm,
other words, BST requires a precise fix on both the time and space coordinates of an event when it was in its conceptual stage, or the stage that precedes physical manifestation of the event.
mhm,
Interesting.
mhm.
I believe that the Wingmakers have discovered an interactive time travel.
Yep.
Wow, interactive time travel. Um, and then LERM. Um, Remind me of what LERM stands for again.
You actually got me on that one. I can't remember. I
Uh,
think it's gonna come up as we go into it.
okay. Yeah, I hope so
Well,
too.
actually, there it is right there is the equivalent. Yeah, just yeah.
Okay, because LERM is the equivalent of genetics for consciousness, and consciousness is the equivalent of reality formulation for sentient beings. So if LERM is understood, one understands a causal system that operates in non-time and non-space, which fundamentally constructs the reality framework of space, time, energy, and matter.
Great.
Um, whereas quantum objects have no relationship to time and space other than through an observer. So yes, but I thought LERM was an acronym for something, and I just didn't
I
remember
think
what
it
that
is.
was.
I think it is, and I can't remember. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you're saying that the building blocks of matter, these quantum objects, have no existence unless someone is observing them. The
Yep.
consciousness makes them appear real and fixed in time. Is that what you're saying? Well, the double slit experiment, right? Did
Yep.
we have that back then or no? Maybe not.
Oh
Maybe
yeah.
that, did we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Okay.
You did. Yeah. Definitely.
Consciousness stems or originates from non-time and non-space as a form of energy that is a basic building block of learn. Consciousness becomes localized as it becomes physical. In other words, consciousness becomes human or animal or plant or some object that has physical characteristics. Are you with me so far? Yes. Good. As consciousness becomes a localized physical object, it essentially orchestrates learn to conform to a reality matrix that has been encoded into the genetic or physical properties of the object that it has become. In other words, consciousness moves from non-space and non-time to become matter. And
That's
then
cool.
if that object is a human being, then the genetic triggers that are uniquely human become the tools of consciousness from which it constructs its reality.
Wow.
That's really deep.
Yes, that is. It's awesome, isn't it? It's very awesome.
That's, yeah. Okay, LERM is essentially an infinite field of possibilities,
There you
or
go.
as Aristotle referred to it, potentia.
That's
This,
cool, eh?
yes,
That's a neat word.
I love it. This
Yep.
potentia is like fertile soil from which physical objects are created. Those who can orchestrate LERM through the application of their consciousness are able to manifest reality and not simply react to it. This
Mm,
manifestation can be instantaneous because, again, quantum objects originate in non-time and non-space. Yeah, let's try that.
yep.
I want to try that. Um,
I think you're already doing it.
I hope so.
Oh yeah, you are. Without a
Let's
doubt.
manifest some good stuff happening for the world.
Yep.
Um, what you're really talking about is what Jesus or other prophets have done, essentially manifesting things like turning water to wine or curing the sick, right? Yes, it's the same principle, only I've described it instead of performed it. It's much easier to perform than describe, which is interesting because you'd think it'd be the other way around, because
No
that's what
kidding,
we've
right?
always thought, it's what
Yep.
we
Yep.
tend to think. Um, and she goes, so you're going to tell me that you can turn water into wine? He says, actually, I've never tried that before, but yes, all of the members of the labyrinth group can manifest physical objects from out of the lerm. So out of the lerm makes me feel like lerm means ether.
Exactly. I think you're right about that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
Because
like
everything
from out of the
manifests out of
ether.
the ether. We know
Right.
that now. Yeah. So I think you nailed it again. Bingo.
Yay. Okay.
Yep.
For the purposes of these reading these transcripts later, Dr. Anderson just made a ball of twine appear out of nowhere, where he just made it disappear as well. Now it has reappeared again. This is incredible. He's not holding it. So it's not like a magician who's making this appear from his sleeve or from behind his hand somehow. It's quite literally appearing and disappearing on a table about 3 feet in front of him, which is about 6 feet away from me. I could see it all very clearly. I bet she was freaking out.
No kidding, right? She's gonna freak out even more when the next thing he does. Watch.
Wow. And so she's picking it up and making sure it's a physical object and it's not a hologram and all of that.
Yep.
And so she goes, can you make something complicated like $1 million in cash? He says, yes. Um, so she says, let's see. She said, he says, you see, this is the problem with these discoveries and capabilities. If I produced $1 million in cash right now, you'd have a dilemma. What to do with $1 million? Could you see me to make it disappear as easily as I make it appear? She goes, are you crazy? Since the first moment I met you, I've never believed in what you've said until now. See, he had to
That's
do something physical right in front of her. She's so 3D.
that's awesome. I love it. I
Uh,
love it.
and she's saying, and I'm not even saying I totally believe you now, but I'm a hell of a lot closer. She's still grappling with it at this moment.
Exactly.
It's like having David Blaine right in front of you. Um, And now I'm looking at a loose pile of $100 bills that appear to be perfect replicas. I'm touching them. Again, they feel slightly warm to the touch, but these would definitely pass as the real thing. Wow, I can't believe it. But this can't be $1 million. You only manifested 10,000, didn't you? Yes, give or take a few $100s.
Isn't that cool?
Oh, wow. Yep. She says, you do realize that you just undermined your own credibility to those who will read this transcript. You just made yourself totally unbelievable.
Exactly. Exactly, right?
Oh, man. What are we going to
Oh.
do? What are we going to do? Ed, how are we going to deal with these people?
It's
I don't know.
very, very interesting, isn't it?
It is. It's really a belief in learn and its unerring perfect processes of creation, moving quantum objects from non-space and non-time to the world of matter in our time and space.
Yep.
Wow. It
And
is more
and
closely related to faith than technology, as odd as that might sound. That is true.
yeah, yeah,
Because you really have to believe in yourself and that you can do it.
yeah, exactly.
And that's really the
And
hardest part.
and we know now that this stuff comes from the backside of the Turing wave in time space. That's where the stuff comes from, actually.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So
and we
the
talk about
blinking
that on Líja's
universe.
Patreon channel, which everyone should check out if they really want to dive into it more. There's a lot of good stuff on about the Turing wave and everything on there. Yeah.
Yeah, the Turing wave and some quantum kinetics and
Yep.
all kinds of good stuff.
Yep.
So
Yep. Some of the
check it out.
technologies that Stevati has developed as well are there.
Right.
There's a
That's
lot of good. Yep.
Potentials podcast at Patreon. Thank you,
Yep.
Ed, for reminding me to
Check it
say
out.
that.
Absolutely. Check it out. There's some awesome stuff there. Yeah. All the best stuff is there, actually. So sign up for her Patreon channel. Literally. Right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're so good at that. I'm really got to get better at that. Anyway, I understand, but nonetheless, it's really a matter of perspective. And once you have the perspective on learn and it becomes a fundamental construct of your belief system, it becomes amazingly easy to do this. So it's
Hmm.
really like that. You believe that it can happen. If you believe it can happen, then your chances of it happening are a lot more likely. It's basically
Exactly. Yep.
what he's saying,
Yep.
which is what
Which is so
happens.
cool, right?
Yeah. Okay, now we're here. It's not related to IQ. It's related to understanding and belief. Absolutely.
Yep.
The understanding comes from seeing the existence of Lerm or the ether and understanding how it operates at its fundamental level.
Yep.
So,
Exactly.
how do you get me to believe in Lerm? She says. You already do deep inside you. It's your
That's an
conscious mind that rejects your deeper belief and understanding. So I
that's
would
awesome.
help you to consciously understand what you already know at a deeper level of your being. And I would do this by showing you learn. And how would you do that? You would need to come to the Labyrinth Group's research facility in Virginia. It's the only place in the world where I can show you the indisputable evidence of learn. Huh, I wonder where that
Uh,
is now.
yeah, that's pretty interesting. In Virginia
Yeah,
too.
that's
Isn't
also
that
where um that's also where what's his name? Robert Monroe um
okay?
of the book The Ultimate Journey and the Monroe Institute.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah.
That's where it exists. It's in Virginia, as far as I know.
That's
So
interesting. Yeah.
that is
Hmm.
interesting.
Yeah.
Um, the Labyrinth Group has a technology designed by 15 himself that quite literally enables an individual to experience Lerm. Interesting. There are also the mystical or shamanic means,
That's interesting
which
too.
I would maybe ayahuasca or something along those lines.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Perhaps. We know that
Shamanic,
Elena is is a shaman,
right.
which
But
right.
for the average person to like just all of a sudden, acquire these skills is kind of unusual. But a lot of
Yeah.
people who have shamanic experiences tend to come out the other end being able to understand it much clearly
Yeah.
and be able to manifest these skills or
Yeah.
abilities or whatever it is that we have inside of us that are dormant in most of
And
us.
and they just get unlocked essentially.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Uncluttered. It's like um something
Like the
that's hidden.
hard drive, cleaning the hard
Yeah,
drive like you were
cleaning the
talking
hard drive.
about.
It's like something that's hidden deep inside that we just haven't accessed for so long, and that just needs to, you need to clear out the clutter, like my
Yeah.
storage space. Um, but nonetheless, okay, so this nonetheless triggers an awakening that causes them to transform their understanding by themselves. In some instances, this awakening includes an ability to manifest physical objects, but generally it's done without a conscious knowledge of how it's done. It just works. Yeah, so
Wow.
people manifest things all the time without even realizing they're doing it. So I can
Absolutely,
see
we
what he
do.
means.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's assume that I'm not cut out to be a mystic or a shaman. What would I see with this technology that would convince me of my abilities to do what you just did? I can't really tell you. It's one of those experiences that words are wholly inadequate to describe or explain. About all I can tell you is that the learn is experienced through this uh, technology, and it essentially, as a result of the experience, rewires your internal electric system. Now,
Wow.
who else talks about this? About rewiring
Um,
your brain.
right.
There are a few other people that talk about that. There is is it Bruce Lipton? I think that's his name. Um, there's another guy whose name eludes me at the moment, but he
Okay.
talks about neural pathways and how you can rewire your brain um,
Right.
through meditation and things like that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, there's a lot of people that are talking about this kind of thing now that weren't talking about it 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
Yeah. When specifically when this was written too, right back in the 90s.
Yes, this would have
Yeah.
been like speaking another language back then,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But now
That's very correct. Yeah.
I'm reading it and thinking, yeah, this makes total sense. People talk about rewiring your neural pathways all the time
Yeah.
by, doing specific exercises and also by, meditating and different things that you
Yeah.
can do to encourage that. So, yeah. 15 from an early age always felt that the technologies of BST and LERM would only be granted to those organizations that would properly honor the ethical considerations that were elicited by technology itself. Hmm. So then he says, with the Labyrinth Group, there is a committee called the Technology Transfer Program, or TTP committee. This committee has two missions. One, to assess the incoming technologies that are simulated from ETs, and two, they're responsible for which technologies and in which state of dilution they're transferred to our private industry partners, NSA or the military.
Well,
Wow.
I think you might have missed a couple pages because you're on
Really?
40. Yeah.
Yes.
And I was
39.
38 and 39.
Didn't I just read
Oh
that?
no, sorry. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's me. Keep going.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think that's interesting
I'm
though,
not paying attention to that. Okay,
that
there we go.
they're transferring these technologies to the NSA or the military, as well as private industry partners.
Right. But that would all be done through the lettered agency thing, right? So again, remember we thought that most of this was being controlled by the deep state back in this period.
Yep.
So yeah, where exactly who is getting the
Who
information
is
is
getting this information? Not
yeah,
us.
yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah.
And how are they using it? And how were
Mm,
they using it?
that's a better statement, actually. How were they using it?
How were they using it back then? Right.
Because they're not now.
And
That's why we're
what have we had to undo that they did because they used
yeah,
it? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, exactly.
The Labyrinth Group is more than a secret organization. For all practical purposes, it doesn't exist. The ACIO doesn't exist. No one will be able to trace the ACIO, let alone the Labyrinth Group.
Wow.
And then you remember when I looked up blank slate technology
I
and that
sure
somebody
do. Yep.
actually was using it? So it makes me wonder if they do exist, but they're just using a different name,
Yeah. And which
which is
branch
why
was
we
that?
can't trace them.
Where
Hmm?
did you find that? Which
I
branch
Googled
was
it.
that? I know, but
I
what military or what group was it? Do you remember?
I don't remember now. I'd have to
Yeah,
re-Google it. We can look at it
yeah,
after this
yeah.
because I think we're almost at the end.
Maybe
Um,
it's a link. If you find it, maybe you could put it in as a link.
yeah, sure. I mean,
That'd be
I could
awesome.
do it real time right here whenever we're done with this.
Yeah.
I forgot you can make your own money out of thin hair. You make 400,000 a year tax free and have a money tree in your mind and you live like I do. If you don't mind my asking, what do you do with all your money? He says, I have charities that I contribute to, and the rest I've used to set up trust funds for causes that are generally related to the environment. Interesting.
That's cool. That's
So
cool.
I
Yeah.
think like he probably had some insight because he was a time traveler that he knew what we would need to have money set aside for and where it would need to go in
Oh,
advance.
oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah.
So that in a way was a good thing that he had that money because he knew what to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah,
And
exactly. It was
environment is
helping people.
probably very important.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, 42. The number 42.
There's nothing on that
Yeah,
one.
I know, but I like the number 42.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
42 is the
That's
answer to
funny.
everything.
Oh, okay.
You people out there that know what I'm talking about will get a laugh out of that, I guess. Um, 42 is the answer to everything. It's the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference.
Oh, gotcha.
Um,
Yep.
the
Now
Labyrinth
I get
group,
it.
because of its connection to the ACIO, is still very much connected to the secret network of organizations who control a great deal of the world's monetary and natural resource assets.
The deep state. That's a deep state statement if I ever heard one, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's why he was trying to put his money where his mouth is. Okay, so down here, to answer your first question, I fear for my life because I know information that could cause irreparable harm to a variety of secret organizations, though I have no intention to do so.
Yeah, because they were going to try, he thought that they were going to try and blank his mind,
They
hers,
were
you
gonna
know,
mind wipe him. Yeah,
yeah,
the old Men
erase
in
everything.
Black with the whole, yeah. Shoot.
Yeah.
Um, I have the access codes for this system and the maintenance key that will prevent it from crashing. I have made certain that I'm the only one who has this knowledge, so that's why they don't want to get rid of him because
Yeah.
they need him.
They
That was
need them.
smart.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very smart.
Smart.
It's a derivative of a laser telemetry technology that the ACIO developed about 20 years ago, but it filled the specific needs of the LEARN project because it was based on analog protocols, which were required for the application in that specific part of the experiment.
Yeah. So analog protocols. I think we're going to talk a little bit more about that.
Okay. I began to systematically disentangle myself from the ACIO's invasive security precautions, which include electronic sensors implanted underneath the skin in the back of the neck, which, as we
Wow.
know, that's where they put the Neuralink. That's where they put
Oh, right.
whatever they want to track you. They put tracking
Yeah.
devices there. Um, yeah. So
Yeah.
that makes total sense. Like we know this stuff now. Back then, that was just wild. Like, what's he talking about? Putting stuff in the
It-
back of your neck,
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's what they
It's more,
do. And
it's a lot more timely information now, right?
we're looking
Because
at this with like, yeah, I could see how
fresh
this would
eyes.
happen.
Yeah.
Yes. We're,
That's why we're doing it right now, actually, by the
yes,
way.
it's so timely. This is
Source of
incredible.
course.
This is incredible.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, I suppose the best way to describe them is that they were like a lucid dream. I woke up and saw two luminous objects about the size of a human being and with the general appearance of a body, though they were too bright for me to look directly at them, so I wasn't really sure of their appearance initially. The light had a rhythmic pulsing quality to it, and this pulsing seemed to entrain my own consciousness. It was like feeling something that was extremely powerful but equally gentle at the same time. Then I felt my mind become linked to the mind of these beings. They told me they were the WingMakers, they were WingMakers, and that they had entered my time to help me. They were only interested in unlocking their coded messages because they felt that their time capsule had fallen into good hands. And they
That's
came to
interesting.
make certain that the ones who discover it will serve the WingMakers agenda and not their own,
Yeah,
which was what Dr. Anderson did.
exactly. Yeah, they found the right person essentially, right?
Yep. He had the right
Yeah,
frequency.
yeah, that's
They
it. Frequency. Yeah,
They, for whatever reason, had chosen me to be in their liaison and were intent on helping me bring the contents of their time capsule to the public domain, and more specifically to the internet, which
very
was relatively
interesting.
new back then.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say, right?
She
Yeah,
wouldn't have understood why that was so important. We didn't have the World Wide Web at the time, I don't think. If we did, it was very limited.
exactly. There's just
Browsers were
starting to
very
be,
limited.
yeah,
Yeah.
starting to be built. Yeah, yeah,
Mhm. The Wingmakers are the result of a whole new evolution of humankind. They're not time bound. They're able to separate their physical and non-physical selves, and in the latter state, travel across vertical time and interact with it. I'm not sure that's exactly the form of BST that 15 has in mind. It seems more like bilocation, except in different time periods instead of space. While in
yeah,
the foreign time, they can rematerialize their physical bodies and interact with the physical environment if they choose. They can even bring objects with them and transfer these objects to the foreign time, as they did in the case of the ancient Eros site.
right.
Oh, that's what
Yeah.
they did. And I think that's what the Wingmakers are doing with their time capsules. They're testing the Labyrinth group, and 15 in particular, to see what his true intentions are. Mm,
That's very interesting, isn't it?
wow. Yeah. So, okay, now we're at this part. But I read in one of the ACIO memos, or maybe you told me, that the final time capsule wouldn't be discovered until the year 2023. Ha!
Yep,
That was last year.
exactly. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't JP go into the cave last year?
Yeah.
Yep.
Hmm.
And that I knew that. I
Yep.
knew that part. Yep. Yep.
Perhaps later I'll learn more about their plan as far as the 2018 elections and hostile
Yes.
takeovers are concerned.
Yes.
Oh
I
my God,
know
I
I knew
don't
you were
remember
gonna
reading this.
I I was waiting for your reaction because it's awesome, right?
I don't remember reading this.
I know.
Holy shit. We
I
didn't
know.
notice. That's so wild. This
Yep.
was not inserted later.
No, no.
This was here.
This is the original. Yeah, I
This
read
is
it.
the original off of the website that
Yep.
has
And
not been tampered with
I
in
read
any
it back
way.
then, and I remember that this section very specifically because it was the like aha moment. But I didn't know that the 2018 election because I had no. It wasn't 2018 yet when I read it. It was 2015 when I
Yeah.
first read it. Right? Isn't that
Well,
something?
I mean, yeah, because really it's usually 2016 then 2020, right? But 2018 something happened, right? That,
Yeah,
yeah, that's wild.
change things. Yeah,
So it
it's
wouldn't have even
wild.
made sense. What are they talking about the 2018 elections? There's no elections in 20. Yeah,
Exactly, but it makes a
wild.
lot of sense now, doesn't it? Right?
So makes sense now.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I know. I got shivers on my. I'm getting shivers.
Wow. The
Yeah.
glossary is derived from the optical disc found in the 23rd chamber of the Wingmaker's time capsule. It represents the definitions of keywords and phrases that are used in the first two philosophical papers written by the Wingmakers. And entity. The entity model of consciousness encompasses the individuated spirit, sometimes referred to as the higher self or soul. The
Mhm.
entity is, in a sense, a fragment of the universal spirit of consciousness of Prime Creator. It is composed of a very refined and pure energy vibration that is equal to source intelligence. It is the entity consciousness that divests itself into human or otherwise physical vehicles in order to collect experiences that evolve and transform its understanding and appreciation of existence.
Wow.
That is so amazing.
Yeah. That is so cool.
The entity is sovereign and simultaneously interconnected with all life through the universal spirit consciousness, source intelligence. It is the animating force / energy within all life forms that is always in search of higher understanding and expression.
And that's why Legion and I say source, of course, because we're talking about source, and I just added of course because it sounds cool. Yeah.
That's yeah. The so what, Smokey? I'm sorry, Smokey's meowing at me. I don't know what he
Meow.
Okay. I have to read. You can come up here. I hold on.
Yeah.
I think my cat wants me.
If you
No,
if you
no.
want up, no,
think he
no.
does. Do you want up? Come
Do you want to be on the WingMakers?
here. Ah. Oh, he's escaping. I don't know what he's. Come here. I can't do it. My chair is. It's stuck. I'm on carpeting, and it's not easy
Oh,
with the wheelchair on carpeting. Okay, he got away. Anyway, he could have been on the Wingmakers, but oh well. Um,
that's funny.
sorry. I'm sorry to
No,
interrupt.
that's cool. Love
Uh,
animals.
where was
Animals
I?
first, always, right?
Yeah.
And kids, children. Yep.
The entity is sovereign and simultaneously. Did I read that part?
Yeah.
Um,
You're on to the next one, the sovereign.
The sovereign integral is a state of consciousness whereby the entity and all of its various forms of expression and perception are integrated as a conscious wholeness. This is a state of consciousness that all entities are evolving towards, and at some point will reach a state of transformation that allows the entity and its instruments of experience, i.e., the human instrument, to become an integrated expression that is aligned and in harmony with source intelligence.
Wow. More
Prime creator.
shivers.
Hmm?
More shivers. That's awesome.
Yes. Prime creator is the primal source from which all existence is ultimately linked. It is sometimes referred to as the body of the collective God. It represents the overarching consciousness of all things unified. It includes pain, joy, suffering, light, love, darkness, fear. All expressions and conditions are integrated and purposeful in the context of prime creator.
Yeah. Wow.
This is some deep stuff right here.
It's
Prime
definitely.
creator is not a manifestation, but rather a consciousness that inhabits all time, space, energy, matter, form, intent, as well as all non-time, non-space, non-matter, non-energy, non-form, and non-intent. That is so cool. That is
I
so
know.
totally true.
Yep.
Wow. It is the only consciousness that unifies all states of being into one being. And this
Mm.
being is prime creator. It is a growing, expanding, and inexplicable consciousness that organizes the collective experiences of all states of being into a coherent plan of creation, expansion, and colonization into the realms of creation, and the inclusion of creation into source reality, the home of prime creator.
Wow. That's really
Man,
deep.
that is, I feel that totally.
Yep. Yep. It's quite
That
the statement, isn't
is
it?
so real. That's real
Yeah.
because, like, there's no agenda in that. There's
Yeah.
no, like, oh, we have to go worship this prime creator now because it's demanding that we do it. There's no, it's a he, it's a she, it's an the prime creator is everything and nothing all at once.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
This being pervades the universe as the sum of experience in time and non-time, in time and non-time.
Yeah.
It has encoded itself within all life as a vibration of frequency.
That is awesome. That is such an awesome statement right there, because we always talk about frequencies, right?
Mm-hmm. I like this next sentence, even though it's not underlined. This frequency is not perceptible to the three-dimensional, five-sensory context of the human instrument, which can only detect a faint echo of this vibration.
Mm.
Prime Creator is present in all, and all are able to contact Prime Creator through this tone vibration of equality.
Isn't that
Tone
awesome?
vibration. Tone vibration.
I know,
Interesting,
right?
right?
Very, very interesting. Yes.
Prayers of supplication do not stir Prime Creator to response, right?
Yep.
That's what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you said. It's awesome,
Only the
right?
core expression of the individual's tone vibration of equality will be successful in contacting Prime Creator in a meaningful way. In other words, you have to vibrate with the right tone frequency in order to be able to communicate.
Yeah, and now we know a little bit more about densities, and a density is just the vibrational frequency of your DNA, essentially, and that's what everyone on Earth is moving upwards from third to fourth to fifth, right? That's yeah, very, very interesting. It
Yeah.
is all about frequency again.
It's all about sound and frequency, just as Tesla said.
Yep,
Um,
exactly.
until there is a sufficient number of individuals who operate from this sovereign integral consciousness, the genetic mind will make access to this vibration difficult to achieve.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So we have to have enough individuals
Universal
in order
consciousness needs to be
in order to
raised.
make this happen, right?
Yes, by all of these different people. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There are those on Terra Earth who are training to be sovereign entities and are completely unaware of this training as well as their destiny.
Isn't that awesome?
That was me at the time for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
And
Yep.
probably a lot of us that are watching
Mm.
this right now. When they are able to become timeless and view the continuum of their life stream, they will see the thread that has differentiated them as sovereign entities. They will understand how the hardships and supposed indifference of the universe were actually the catalysts for their emergence as designers of the new genetic mind.
I love that statement.
Yeah.
Big time. That is
Yeah.
so awesome.
That's beautiful.
Yep.
I love that.
Yep. Told you
Don't,
this one was going to be the best one.
yeah. I don't need to say any more about that. That just speaks for itself. It's
Exactly.
source reality is represented in your belief in unconditional love, but of all the dimensions of your belief systems, this is the one thread that is connected through the genetic mind to source reality.
Isn't that awesome again?
Unconditional
Like you
love.
said, it just speaks for itself again, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Truly unreal.
Okay. Source intelligence is the energy consciousness of Prime Creator that is cast into all worlds, all dimensions, all realities, all life forms, all times and places. The source intelligence is the source intelligence is the prime creator projected into all that is. Source intelligence, in effect, is the eyes and ears of prime creator, and its role is principally involved in expressing, upholding, and sustaining the will of prime creator. On a more personal level, it is a liberating force of energy intelligence that serves to accelerate the expansion of consciousness and assist those who desire to unlimit themselves.
Unlimit themselves. Isn't that a awesome statement?
I like that.
I know.
I'm gonna borrow that little phrase. Um, source intelligence is the projected intelligence of Prime Creator. Within this consciousness exists the synthesis and distillation of all that is. It is an infinite library of knowledge and experience that can be tapped into through attunement and creative will. While source intelligence is the vehicle of cosmological unity, it also holds the information of all that is and circulates this information and creative empowerment to all entities who are willing to reach for it and utilize it for the expansion of consciousness.
That's
That's a mission
awesome.
statement right there.
Yeah, and it says for all willing to reach for it. So everyone, please do that. That's
Yes,
why we're here talking about this today as well, right? So that everyone
absolutely.
can do that.
Absolutely. I'm writing down the number this is because I want to read this again later. Unlimit.
Yeah, and having said that too, everyone, I only picked out specific sections, as you can see, that are underlined. There is way, way more information. So if you guys want to do a deep dive,
Yeah.
again, go to, I think we'll have the link
I
for
have
the
the link in the
original.
description. Yep.
Yep,
And it's wingmakers.us
yep,
basically. That's what it
That's
is.
the original one. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Sovereignty allows that the source of liberating information is contained within the self, and that all that is needed to create new realities is also contained within the self. It is the point of empowerment and connection to all through the frequency of love.
Wow.
Yes.
Again, right? Another
Yes.
wow moment. Yeah.
All existence has a secret route that spirals into the uncharted realm of Prime Creator. That's so cool.
Yep.
Wow, spirals. I mean, what does a galaxy do, right? What does a
And
longitudinal
longitudinal
wave do?
waves, Steve.
Yes,
Exactly.
that's what I said. Right. What
We
we
send it
have
together in
spirals all
stereo.
around us, invisible spirals. I
Yep.
love
Yep.
that.
Yep. I know, right? Amazing.
Yeah. All right. All of
And
the
I think
23 chamber paintings are intact. All of the poetry has been translated. 10 music compositions from the first 10 chambers have been decoded, and thus far, two of the philosophical papers have been posted. So I
yep.
wonder if anything has changed since then.
Well, we now we know, and we haven't dove into it yet, but I do remember Kat sending, and both you and Kat sending me some new information on possible WingMakers stuff that
Right.
has come out
Additions.
after additional.
Had to, yeah.
Yeah,
So
but
much has happened since then.
yeah, exactly. But I haven't had a chance to go there yet. And next we have Thoth on physics,
Right.
which is all from the Emerald tablets. and and then after that we're going to do, I think it's 5 shows maybe on the Emerald tablets. I can't remember how many shows exactly, but something like that. And the same thing, we're pulled out just certain sections. So again, it's just about a third. I think this is about a third of the information that we went through.
Yep.
And so there's 2/3 more if people want to deep dive. And I highly
Right.
recommend that they do, because they talk about fluid consciousness or fluid intelligence, and how you can develop this fluid intelligence, which is kind of like thinking on the go.
Yep.
And
Thinking
I
on the
believe,
spot.
yeah, exactly. And I believe that just reading the information actually starts to make that process happen.
Makes it
So even
happen
these
faster.
people listening, it's going to start triggering things,
Yes.
and then you're going to want to deep dive more into things. And yeah, the next thing you know,
It's
you'll be
highly
reading.
addictive. It's a highly
Yeah,
addictive rabbit hole. Just to
yeah,
warn
exactly.
you.
And it's an awesome rabbit hole, though.
It's
Like,
a beautiful rabbit hole.
everyone should
Yes.
dive down it totally. Yeah, because it's
Well, this is
amazing.
the blank slate technology that I was
Oh,
referring to.
great.
I just
Okay,
Googled it
and
while we were talking. And
what's that
so
little
if you look down here, it
Yep,
says, Department of DOD right here.
it's the
Yeah.
DoD. Okay,
So
so
really, Department of Defense, Defense Innovation Unit. So Blank State is a deep tech cognitive science firm built on peer-reviewed literature and founded by graduates of Yale and MIT. So that's who
interesting,
they're
right?
giving credit to this.
I know
We
that's not
have
that's not right.
we have information that's much older than this website, because this website just came online. I think
Yes.
it was like last year.
Yeah, you found it and showed it to me, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Whoa, look at that!" Right?
Because
Yeah,
I was constantly looking up blank slate, excuse me, waiting for it to exist. Because I'm like, this is going to happen. It's in the WingMakers. It's going to happen.
that's
Every
awesome.
year I would Google time travel just to see if we have it yet. Like
Oh,
it's like they're going to announce it, right? And
yep.
then I would also Google blank slate because I thought, this is it has to be in there.
I
So
know when we first met, the thing that we really connected with was time travel. That was
yeah,
the number one thing. And then, of course, we found out that we both had done the Wingmakers, and yeah, it's just truly amazing. But yeah, there's something in all of this information that will trigger and open up your consciousness, and let you connect more directly with source, because everyone can, but it's like you said, cleaning up the hard drive, so to speak, right?
right, right.
Yeah.
I'm looking up Chaco Canyon while we're here.
Oh, beautiful. Yes.
Um,
Yeah, we talked about that. It
I was
was,
in Turkmenistan before.
oh, right.
If people
Oh,
were
yeah,
wondering where was that? That's Turkmenistan. It's fascinating. It's another
we're gonna
rabbit
go,
hole.
we're gonna go there one day in a hover
Yes.
car.
Wow.
Yeah,
So look, so this is Chaco Canyon, right? Look at
exactly.
all of these little caves. Look at all of these, you know,
So is there, because it's 80 miles
miles.
northeast of Chaco Canyon. So is there like a scale on there for like distance measuring?
Um, uh, Crap. I
See,
don't.
2,000
Oh,
meters.
yes, 2,000 meters down here.
Okay,
And
so
the camera
2,000
says
meters.
19 kilometers. So the whole thing is 19 kilometers.
2,000 meters is about a mile. It's a little less than a mile, right?
Well, this says that the whole camera view is 19 kilometers.
Okay, so no, okay, so 19 kilometers, so that's about 10
Oh, is this
miles.
it
We
down
need
here, miles? That's like, is that M? 1,926 miles? Maybe that's what it converts to.
2,000. I think that's 2,000 meters. It looks like.
No, here, but in the very, very corner, you might not be able to see
Oh,
it.
maybe I can't see it.
It says
Yeah.
next to the coordinates, it says 1926 M. So I think that
Okay.
might mean, oh no, that's sea level. Yeah,
Oh, the
yeah,
elevation. Right,
that's the
right.
elevation. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know the
Because
conversion.
what we would have to do is take Chaco Canyon and then make a circle around it that was 80 miles, but we know generally it's in the northeast direction to kind of get us in the
Well,
ballpark
okay.
of where we
This
thought
is
it might be, right?
this is the
Look
interesting
at
thing.
that. Nav I
Right
just
north
saw
of
that.
Chaco Canyon is the
I know.
Navajo Nation off-reservation trust land.
I just saw that. Yeah. That's interesting,
So
isn't it?
that is very interesting.
So how far is it from there to Chaco Canyon is the question, I
Um,
guess. Oh,
105
10.
kilometers. 105
Okay.
kilometers.
Well, that's about 80 miles.
Yeah,
Or it's
I'm
point
not good at
0.6. It's
I'm
point
not good at
0.6.
that kind of thing.
17 kilometers is 10 miles. So that's, yeah, that's interesting. And is that the right direction?
North, that's north.
That's north,
North
but northeast would put us more into those mountains. It looks like,
over
yeah, where your
here,
cursor is, yeah. Or
maybe.
even where those mountains are, because it's in a canyon, remember? So it's going
Does
to
it
be in
say
the
how,
mountains
and it doesn't say how
somewhere.
far northeast, but yeah.
Yeah,
Are
80
these are
miles.
mountains?
Yeah, those are
There's
mountains for sure. So it
definitely,
might be in there
oh,
somewhere.
Split Rock Pueblito. Split Rock
Right.
Pueblito temporarily closed.
Huh.
I
Interesting.
don't know.
Mustang Camp. We will do more. I've got
Yeah.
Google Earth that I haven't really played with, and
We're
I'll
gonna
get
have
off.
to look into this. And if any of
Yeah.
our viewers would like to
Yes.
help us,
Yes.
petroglyphs,
Actually,
interesting.
that's a great idea.
You
Yeah.
know, you're interested in this. Yeah, feel free to drop it in the comments what you think,
Absolutely.
where you think this is,
There
because
was
that
something
makes
that said White Rock there too. That's
yeah, White
interesting.
Rock is west.
Right. Chuckle Canyon Cultural Natural. Wow. It would be so cool to visit that area,
Yeah, it
wouldn't
would.
it? Because the
That would be so.
Anasazi come from there, right? Also,
Yeah, the Hopi. Yep.
the Hopi, yep,
I
yep,
would love to see this area.
yep.
Right. Well, so anyway, that's what I'm
Cool.
a little
Another place to go on a
interesting.
hover car.
Yes.
Just for everyone out there, we plan at some point once there's a hover car that runs on free energy, we're going to do a world tour with the hover car using free energy, so it won't cost us anything to go around the world, and we'll broadcast podcasts from that.
Live
That
podcasts from the hover car.
from the hover car, and we happen to know a
Facebook
guy,
Live.
right? We know a guy who's you know what,
We know a
on
guy who
the
knows a guy. I know a guy
yeah,
who knows a guy. You know a guy.
yeah, that's right. I know a guy, and that guy on between July 20th and July 23rd might even reveal a prototype of the hover car. We're
Well,
not sure
yes,
what he
but
has in
not,
mind.
yeah, let's not,
Yeah,
we don't
I
know.
know, but that's kind of what I think is going to
Yeah,
happen.
I think.
Um, because I was told when the prototype was supposed to be ready, years ago. So I've got my fingers crossed, but at least he's going to give us more information. And it's also the 30th anniversary of Stibati Aerospace.
Right.
So
Well, now you
that's
just
a whole,
linked who it is. So, oh well. I'm
yeah,
sure people kind of guessed anyway. But
yeah,
yes, there's very exciting things happening in the future and a lot to look forward to. And there's a lot of hope out there, and that's what I like to see. I like to see that there's good stuff that's going to happen, and just, try to keep hope alive for everyone, because this is a tough time to live in. It's a
yes,
scary,
yes,
tough
it
time,
is.
but
Yeah.
we're going to get through it, and it's going to be brilliant and beautiful on the other end. And I have a rainbow going across my face as
That's
I'm saying
awesome.
this. So there you go. It's
I can
proof,
see that's
proof
total
positive.
proof.
I have rainbow mustache right now. Woo, right there.
Rainbow mustache.
Rainbow mustache right there. See it?
Yep, I can see it. That's
Very
awesome.
nice. So
Source of
hope,
course,
keep
again.
your hope alive, everyone,
Yes.
and things will get better. And we're going to make this a better world. And all of you out there who are contributing to that, thank you. Thank you for
Yes.
contributing to making this a better place to live and a better future for our children and for our children's children and our future selves, and the future planet. So
Yeah.
thank you. And
Beautifully said. Yeah, beautifully said. Thank you, Lija, for
we will
that.
see you next time. Thank you for joining us for the WingMakers. This was a pleasure. It was fun and very, very interesting and thought-provoking and deep. So I enjoyed
Yes.
it very much. I love the deep dives. So thanks again, Ed, and we will see you next time. Ciao for
Yeah,
now.
thank you. Bye.